Are you ready to unlock your full potential and achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals? Welcome to Remarkably Simple, the podcast dedicated to helping you do just that. I'm Moneke Fields, and I believe that with the right strategies, anyone can achieve remarkable results. Whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting a business, this podcast is your guide to achieving your goals with simplicity and efficiency. Let's embark on this journey together and make success simple. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Moneke Fields, and I'm excited to introduce to you Adrian Marquez. He is the owner of Prosper Business Coaching, and he is a Business Made Simple certified coach who works particularly with home service business owners. Adrian, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, Monique, for having me on here. It's a pleasure to be on here and give you guys some value today. Of course, thank you for introducing me. My name is Adrian Marquez, a certified business coach. I help service-based businesses who are either stuck in their organization, kind of just in those day-to-day operations. I help them with the 6-step proven plan to get you unstuck, get you moving in that business, and optimize that business for revenue and profit. So thank you so much for having me.
I love this. Yes, so we're going to get into all of the nuts and bolts, but to get started and to give our audience just a little bit of context for who you are, I would love it if you'd share a little of your background and what it is that brings you to the work that you're doing right now.
Sure. So I've always been involved in business. My mom started her entrepreneurship journey real early on. She opened up a restaurant. The restaurant lasted about maybe 10 years and they had to shut it down. They were just losing some money. After that, my dad started his business, so we kind of helped him get that going, get that started. From there, I moved to college, so I went for paint and body. After that, I started out my own business. First 6 months were pretty good, but after there, things kind of started to decline. Of course, I wasn't an expert in operations. I wasn't an expert in human resources. I knew how to get the service done and sell it. So that's what I was doing. After there, I had to close that shop down, moved into insurance and sales. When I was in insurance and sales, of course, I kept coming across small business owners just struggling. I mean, some of these guys hadn't paid themselves a check since they started their business. I'm like, hey, guys, I mean, you're number one. You got to pay yourself. Don't give your family what's left over. So that's when I met Don, and Don was able to take me in, mentor me, coached me, trained me. And then certified me to become a Business Made Simple certified coach. After there, I took that 6-step proven plan to help these small business owners before I left my corporate job. And we were able to 2x their business, and now their business runs on autopilot. From there, I started up my own coaching agency, and now I help service-based businesses optimize their business for revenue and profit.
That's fantastic, Adrian. And I love that you share that really in your family, the value of entrepreneurism and having your own business really started there. And that you, after completing your time at college, opened a business of your own. So you know firsthand what's really involved for the small business owner or entrepreneur. And it seems like you've got a lot of passion and have engaged in the study that it takes to help people optimize their businesses. So one question I have is, what are some of the challenges that you notice in your own experience and observation that sort of lead to this growth and development that you've had and now are helping other people to have?
Yes. So where I see a lot of kind of small business owners struggle is with their personal development. So sometimes when we're running a business, we don't think that we have to keep developing ourselves. So we're able to run and continue this business. Of course, later on, if you're starting off as a solopreneur, you're going to be later on, hiring a team. You're going to have to run an organization. So as an owner, you need to become a better leader. You need to become a better business owner in order to keep that business running and healthy. So I feel like that's where it comes in is personal development first. I think that's where they struggle.
And I think, not to point you out, because I have the same experience in my leadership and, growth journey. You spoke about when you had your auto shop that, there were parts that you were good at and, there were the parts that you weren't really prepared for. So I hear what you're saying about just advising people to make sure that they're really having a well-rounded approach to their development so that they have the opportunity to sustain their business longer. And I imagine that this is connected to exactly what it is that you teach and guide people to do. So maybe could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you help people do specifically? How do you teach them, or what do you teach them?
Sure. So we like to think of your business like an airplane. So there's usually six parts to your airplane. Of course, we might not be able to run every single one. We might have to hire a team member to take care of their department. But in general, there are six major parts to running a business. So we have, of course, we like to think of our business like an airplane. So our cockpit is the leadership. Our right engine of our airplane is the marketing. Our left engine is the sales. We have the body of the airplane, which is our services or products. The wings of the airplane the body of the airplane is our overhead and operations. The wings of the airplane are our products and services. And then the gas, right, the fuel tanks for that airplane are the cash flow. Without cash flow, the business will crash. So those are kind of the six parts of the business. Depending on where they're struggling at, we jump in and we help them. Usually I see a lot of small business owners, we kind of have to start them off with the leadership part, get them going, get them out of the if we're using that airplane model, get them out of the back seat, giving crackers to the clients, get them into the pilot seat, managing that business and flying that airplane. So that's what we teach those entrepreneurs, is how to get out of the day-to-day operations and into the cockpit, driving the airplane. You're the vision. You're the visionary. You made the vision. You have what it takes to get it from point A to point B. We just need you in the driver's seat. So that's what I help these small business owners do. Now, for personal development, that's where we actually help you become a hero on a mission. Now, a hero on a mission helps you in your personal development. So with that, we go in there and we write your 1-year goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals, and then we write your obituary, right? What is it that you want people to say at the end of your life? And I feel like that is where it starts. Becoming a hero on a mission. From there, we can start working on your business. But I feel like the leadership part and the self-development is where we need to get started.
Yeah, this is a really impactful point that you make. First, with thinking about how the business is structured, you're really pulling that leader aside and showing them the longevity that they're going to have and the increased growth and capability that they'll have by just taking a moment to get out of working in the business so that they could be really strategically working on it. So I love that you're like pulling that person into the cockpit and really working with them, supporting them to be able to take on that visionary role if they have been so head down in the work that perhaps they're not leading the flight, so to speak. And then the second thing that you said about while they're in that cockpit, getting them to do the individual work. And I love the phrase that you use about being a hero on a mission. But it's like, you've got to know what you want the end to look like so that every step that you take toward that is purposeful and aligned with this purpose and vision that you've identified. So I feel like, now it's really clear what you mean about doing that personal development work. And I think that this is so important, not only for business owners, but really any leader, any organization leader. And I would say even, parents, we're leaders too. We lead little mini organizations in our families. And these are really important ideas that need to be applied. So what are some of the strategies, like specific, if you could just give us a teaser of strategies that you use when you meet the person who is so encumbered with the work? Their business is their life. They love it. They're giving everything to the job, and they've got a wrench in one hand, a hammer in the other, and who's in the office? Who's planning what's next, right? Because they're doing the job. What is it that you do to help individuals kind of get out of that space to be more visionary and, operating from the cockpit in their business?
Yeah, so sometimes it's hard when we're coming in, let's say we're talking to that business owner who, like you mentioned, has the wrench and the business in one hand, and they're running that business from step 1 to step 5, right? With that person, we really have to make sure, one, that they're problem aware. If they're not problem aware, then that's where that kind of struggle comes in. For me, jumping in to help them, because they're like, well, I'm not problem aware. I know I don't have a problem. I'm running this business from step 1 to 5, and I've been doing it for years, and it's been working out, right? Of course, they're probably only stuck at less than $1 million. Now, to get that over $1 million, get that to $5 million a year, they need to start delegating some tasks. Now, in order to get that client problem aware, what we have them do is take a free business assessment, right? Let's give you some free value. That business assessment takes like 12 to 10 minutes, and it'll give them a real customized report on those 6 parts of the airplane. Depending on where they need the help, those questions are real tedious. So depending on how you answer it, it'll give you a nice customized report. From the customized report, now we're able to show the client, and now they're problem aware. Now we can have them come in and be like, okay, now you're running this business. We have to get you from the body of the airplane to the cockpit. Now we're able to use that metaphor and show them an actual vision of where they're at in their business and where they need to be at in their business. Of course, that just comes down to problem awareness.
Yeah, so I love that you point out awareness, right? Like, I think in our personal lives and in our business and professional work, it is really important to not be so quick to assume that everything's okay, right? That we're not looking for problems when we say problem aware, but it's true. We don't know what we don't know. And if we're just curious and willing to do a checkup, in our pre-talk, I remember you suggested that you encourage people to do this like a pre-assessment and a periodic checkup, right? Because where you were a year ago when you completed the assessment, perhaps you would find, that you've made some growth, and that's really good for monitoring. But see other areas that, you're in a different position to make improvement now. So I love that strategy. What are some of the common challenges that you see people are really dealing with in the home services area? What are some of the things that are getting people hung up and stuck?
The biggest one I see is running operations. Some of these home service-based businesses don't really have a structure to run their operations. So that includes company meetings, that includes priorities, tasks, what things need to be completed week in, week out. This just helps that team kind of unify, everybody working together in one direction. When I come in and I'm talking to these home service-based businesses, usually everyone is pulling into different directions. We have one guy who's having a problem with his leadership and he's just pulling in his direction. We have a guy over here who's having a problem with his coworker and he's pulling into a different direction. From there, that's where we come in. We're like, okay, we need to unify this team. We need to get this team together and everyone going towards one goal. And in order to do that, what we do is we apply 5 key meetings. And usually if they have meetings, these 5 meetings are meant to replace those 5 meetings for them. And these 5 meetings just run your entire company. We have your all staff meeting, your leadership meeting, and then each department has their own meeting day in, day out. So every day, your team members know what the priorities are, what the company priorities are, right? We want to make sure we give them at least 3 economic objectives so that our employees are, when they're running towards that one objective or that everyone in one direction, they're actually helping the bottom line. So that's what we do. When we're coming in, I see a lot of small business owners, home service-based businesses, especially struggling with the operations and the management of their organization.
Yeah, and back to that illustration that we just talked about, you've got a wrench in one hand and a hammer in the other. It is a challenge to do operations and to manage operations well and to manage operations in a way that will, enable you to continue to grow and scale if you are, having your head down. So I could see how that is a pretty common problem and probably liberates businesses, I would imagine, that when you help people to start to refine and to get some of those operations really running more smoothly, that they see that they've got, more space and a little less pressure and room for growth.
Yeah. And once we apply these 5 meetings, I mean, it really makes it easy. The business owner really only needs to be at work for 5 hours on once a week. If you're a business owner, you should only be working 5 hours a week, and you can run your entire company with that. Of course, that comes down to running your team, delegating the tasks, just making sure you're running that operation correctly. But when we apply these 5 meetings, you really only need 5 hours on Monday morning, and you could run your business from the islands.
Yeah, so I think that's really powerful that you are helping people find what so many of us desire more of, which is time, by really maximizing efficient operations and being able to, just sort of precisely touch all of the areas that need attention in just 5 hours. Well, whether you're running your business from the islands or, doing the work of expansion, I could see how that would absolutely free up quite a lot of time and create balance. I think for the individuals who struggle and really do feel overcome by the business or the work that they're doing, that could really make a big difference. And I'm sure that this is a topic that piques people's interest. Maybe somebody would love to know how they would find you, follow you, or contact you to get more information about an assessment or, some of the strategies that you use to support businesses. So where can people look you up?
Yeah, you guys can look me up, of course, Adrian Marquez on social media or my website, prosperbusinesscoaching.com. I have all that information in there as well. You can take that business assessment.
Yeah, and Adrian will be tagged on the posts on social and in, the place where you follow your podcast. So you might be able to just jump over to where he is there as well. We'll make it easy for you. I wonder if Adrian, in your experience from your background with your family being in business yourself, and now being dedicated to help other business owners, what is the one thing that you think an individual, a business leader or owner can do that when they do this thing, everything else that maybe was a struggle before will be easier or unnecessary? What is the thing that you advise or suggest that people just, try?
Yeah, so for any leader or business owner, I mean, this could be for anybody out there. If you're listening to this podcast, you just want to, of course, develop yourself, develop your skills. I believe you need to become a hero on a mission. Let's leave the victim mindset behind. Let's become the hero of our own story. Let's write down our obituary. Let's write down our 1 year goal, our 5 year goal, our 10-year goal. And then let's get all of that together and let's add it with a daily planner. This is going to help us, of course, get everything we need done for our personal goals, our health goals, our spiritual goals. All of that is important when it comes down for you running a small business or for you running a team, especially if you're a leader. Personal development is where it comes in. You need to become a better leader before you can lead others. So I feel like if you don't have your vision down, if you're not a hero on a mission, I'm sorry, and you have that victim mindset, you really can't lead others. So coming in, taking ownership of your life, taking ownership of your mission and what you are on this planet to do is what's going to help push you forward and what's going to help develop you later on. But I feel like that's where it comes out first is what are we here to do? What's our obituary? What do we want people to say about us at the end? And that's where we should run our life with. That's what we should be working towards every single day. I feel like sometimes when we're running a business or even just, with work, we tend to lose our mission. We tend to lose what we did this for, why we started the business in the first place. Of course, we started the business. We didn't, think we had to be experts in operations, experts in sales, marketing, human resources, logistics. I mean, all the components of a successful business. But in order to do this, we need to develop ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves first. So I feel like that's where it comes in. Personal development. If you continue to personally develop yourself, your team and business is just going to follow.
Yeah, so this is so powerful and, as you said, applicable to every area of life. But I keep hearing this come up. I see it in my work, and we are really doing the best for our vision, for our dream, for our mission when we are focused first on literally being and bringing the best of who we are to the work that we do. And then the second part of what I heard you say is how important it is to not lose sight of the mission and the vision that we have for the whole of our life. And how does that connect to the work that we're doing? How does that lead us to, this legacy that we want to leave? So I think that's so powerful and encouraging and really simple and applicable, right? Everybody can start to think about, where do I want to be in the future? What do I want to come out of this? And let that be something that they attend to. I've heard it suggested that you start the beginning and the end of every day with that goal, with that purpose. And it's really good advice to write it out, right? Because of the physical connection that you have to that. And I know many people also encourage, or I've heard it several times, that it's best to revisit that, right? Like in times when you're low, stay connected to that thing. Maybe record yourself reading what that is so that you can listen to it and just, stay on course, stay on track. But I think that's so fabulous. And just to wrap up, I would love it if you could just share with our audience an example or a favorite story that you know of where you have been able to, just personally or with someone that you've observed, kind of turn things around using some of these practices and really get that plane just coasting up there at 30,000 or 50,000, whatever is a high number of feet for the plane once things are going well. Tell us a little bit about an example of that.
Sure. So I like to use an example of one of my clients. Her name is Nayeli. She used to own a restaurant. Now, when she bought this restaurant, of course, they were making some money. But when I came in to actually help them to coach, so let's say use this six-step plan to optimize their business for revenue and profit, when I give them the business assessment, we actually found out that they had bought the business wrong. Now, this business assessment was able to pinpoint places of where the business might be dropping the ball. So when after that business assessment with this client, we were able to see, of course, that the contract they had made to buy the business was wrong. I mean, they couldn't change the name, they couldn't change the menu, they couldn't change really anything about that business. So they really didn't buy a business. They bought into a management position to run a business for someone else. And of course, when I jumped in, I was able to see this. So with this client, we're like, hey, I don't really think that this is a good idea. We need to close this business down. We need to get you out of this contract. So I was able to negotiate a deal and a payout to get them out of that contract. From there, we started a whole new business. Her and her family actually owned a cleaning business. Before she moved into the restaurant, she was doing cleaning. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and let's do that. So we were able to just launch a whole new business for them. And in the first 2 to 3 months, we got around $250,000 for them in just the first 2 months of launching. And now they're running, I mean, their business runs on autopilot. She really only works about maybe 7 hours a week. And all the other times just running, growing the business, scaling. I mean, we really have a plan to bring that business to at least $1 million in this year. So we're working towards that. We're really trying to get her there. But I mean, I feel like this is the best example that I like to give because, of course, she didn't know she was stuck. She didn't know she had bought a restaurant the bad way or wrong way. She didn't really know. I mean, she just went, clocked in, made the food, clocked out. And actually, this business was losing about $1,000 a month just being open. So when I was able to go in there and help them out and change that around for them, I mean, it means the world for them. So
Yeah, I think, to circle all the way back to the beginning of our conversation from, when individuals can be very problem unaware, right? Like she was just up to her eyeballs in hard work and not realizing that she was literally losing ground every month, right? And to transition from that to something that is her own, that is run with sound operation and strategy and ever growing is just really a beautiful example of how having this awareness and intentional strategy, leading that business like a plane from the cockpit, just, nothing but blue skies, right? And perhaps sometimes there are thunderclouds in there, but I think then you're just better prepared to handle those when they come. Right. So Adrian, thank you so much for just having a minute to chat with me and to share this information with our audience. And I just look forward to watching and following along with what you're doing to help other business owners.
yes, thank you, Moneke, so much for having me on here today. It was a pleasure. Thank you for everyone listening here today as well. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.